Hello, my name is Klaus, and yes, I am the Grousing Gazer, and I'll be your host and narrator for this video. Do up your seatbelts, you're in for another wild ride. We are about to review an autobiography written by William Tompkins, except this video will have a twist. We will examine all the references he makes to any alien species and their agendas. But first, we have to establish Tompkins' credibility, because what he has to say in his book will blow your mind. William Bill Tompkins caught the Navy's attention when he built scale models of the Navy's fleet after observing the ships in Long Beach Harbor. Lieutenant J.G. Perry Wood of Naval Intelligence recruited Tompkins as a third-class seaman. Shortly after joining the Navy, Tompkins was assigned to Naval Intelligence on advanced technological projects as disseminator of aircraft research and information. His tasks were to compile and maintain a continuous survey of experimental research laboratory activities, other government agencies, and educational, scientific institutions, manufacturing, and research engineers. Tompkins had two bosses, a captain and an admiral. The captain was the chief of engineering, and the admiral was Admiral Rico Obata of Naval Intelligence. Now we need to get into the Battle of Los Angeles story because of two significant events that had occurred. During the evening before the Battle of Los Angeles, at around 8 p.m., Tompkins witnessed a UFO shining a beam of light over the ocean, as if searching for something. The UFO then suddenly turned its light sideways and lit up the room. The light went out and the UFO was gone. Now, what is to be mentioned next is the first significant item. Some people from the Navy and Army Air Corps were having a meeting and witnessed this UFO incident. They were Admiral Roscoe H. Hillenkoetter, MJ-1, Secretary of Navy James V. Forrestal, MJ-3, General Nathan F. Twining, MJ-4, General Curtis LeMay, Edward Bowles of MIT, Dr. Vannevar Bush, otherwise known as MJ-2, and Donald Douglas Sr. After the event, Donald Douglas Sr. created the think tank at Douglas Aircraft. After midnight, at around 2 a.m. on the morning of February 25, 1942, Tompkins woke up to the sounds of screaming air raid sirens and blasting shells of anti-aircraft guns of the coastal artillery. He saw the mothership and thousands of scout crafts. No one was hurt or killed by the UFOs, nor from the 1,433 shells fired at the mothership. The Navy was able to recover an alien craft from the ocean, and Corso mentions in The Day After Roswell that the Army Air Corps recovered their alien craft from the mountains. Sometime later, Tompkins learns that it was the Nordics that were piloting the UFOs and communicating telepathically to hundreds of humans. In Tompkins' case, they planned his career. Let's establish Bill Tompkins' credibility with a review of his work history. Tompkins was recruited into the Navy as a third-class seaman and quickly got transferred to Navy Intelligence. By the age of 20, Tompkins had a top-secret Q clearance to permit him to work at China Lake on modifying rockets and working on alien projects. He left the Navy to join Northrop as a wind tunnel model designer. He later joined North American Aviation's cybernetics lab and saw circuit boards made with alien materials. In 1949, Tompkins joined Lockheed Aircraft Company and became aware of the technical advances into aerospace activities at Douglas Aircraft Company. He joined Douglas in 1950, starting as a draftsman in ground support electronics, and left Douglas in 1956 as an engineering section chief. The editor of Selected by Extraterrestrials, Dr. Robert M. Wood, worked at Douglas Aircraft Corporation part-time for the summers of 1949, 50, 53, and 54, full-time from January 1956 through 1993, dealing with aerodynamic and thermodynamic issues. The editor met with many of the people that Tompkin mentions in his book, especially Elmer Wheaton, the vice president, and his German scientific advisor, Wolfgang B. Klemperer. Tompkins and Wood both worked on the missile project for the Air Force, Nike Zeus missiles for the Army, and the Saturn rocket program for NASA. Tompkins was the chair of Advanced Space Systems at TRW and the Facilities Program Representative at Rocketdyne, a division of North American Aviation Incorporated. He did proposal preparation for Teledyne Rand Corporation. Tompkins consulted with 20 companies or government agencies and was a member of 11 professional associations. He did 42 presentations in the period of 1942 through 2015. Testimonials is a good way to improve the credibility of the person and their work. So in 2001, Tompkins had a 5-hour meeting explaining the extraterrestrial threat to Admiral Hugh Webster, the director of the Navy League Corps in Washington, D.C. and San Diego. Admiral Webster read portions of Tompkins' document and technical documentation. Thompson asked, "How much can I include in a published book?" Admiral Webster replied, "Bill, publish it all. This is most important to our country. Don't leave anything out." Now, getting back to our book review, Selected by Extraterrestrials. Elmer Wheaton, the vice president of Douglas Aircraft Company, gave us the best transition in this video. At a meeting with Tompkins and Wheaton's scientific advisor, Dr. Klemperer, Wheaton told Tompkins why the Navy brought him on board. Quote, "Now, Bill, let's call it what it is. We know that several of you guys, especially you, have been selected by some of those guys, if you get my meaning. Naval intelligence wasn't alone when they took an interest in you. There are aliens, probably Nordics, who have selected you as a child to assist them in their endeavors to prod the U.S. into developing galactic naval spaceships and operations advantageous to both." End quote. Now, let's watch Carrie Lynn Cassidy of Project Camelot interview Bill Tompkins to hear what he has to say in his own.
You're 18 years old, but they've chosen you. I assume Forrestal and the Nordics chose you. Did you already have contact with the Nordics before you went into this program?
Okay, let's go back to February 1942. Okay?
Okay.
They call it the Los Angeles sighting. What took place, actually, my mom was back east, and my dad, my brother, and I had rented a large apartment in Long Beach and California. And this was in a large home that had been broken into 4 apartments. So the second floor actually is 30-foot ceilings down below. So the second floor then is real high.
Okay.
And all the way across the back of this house, it's only 4 blocks from the ocean in Long Beach. All the way across the back is a great big balcony deck. So at about 5:30 in the evening one day in 42, my dad says to my brother and I, who were laying on the floor looking at the newspaper and the magazines, get up and come back here to the deck. So we get up, we go out to the deck, and here's this spot, a little spot, okay, just above the trees and just above the rooftops, okay, of the houses that prevent us to see the ocean from this area.
Okay.
So we're standing there looking at this, and all of a sudden, out of this spot of light came a little beam, and it went like that, sort of about that 60 degrees. And we watched that. Then this beam went straight like this, hit the back of the house, lit up all of the trees, lit up the back, the roofs of all the houses, everything was lit up. And we went back, hit the wall, and then go forward and grabbed the railing, okay? It was gone. It was gone, okay? So we went back, we had dinner, listened to a show on the radio, went to bed. At about 1:30 that night, all of the anti-aircraft guns started firing. We get up, we run outside, and we look at this great big thing at arm's length. It was that big. It was parked at about 7,000 to 8,000 feet. I'd been a Navy pilot, flew almost everything that the Navy had. I knew what the altitude was. I knew what this thing was. There was 8 searchlights on the bottom of this vehicle. Bang, bang, bang. All these shells were bursting on the bottom of this vehicle on a continuous basis for an hour and 30 minutes. Just parked right there. Now, all around it, above it, different vehicles were coming. This lasted...
This is the Battle of L.A. you're describing.
This is the Battle of Los Angeles, okay?
But at that time, you were still a kid, right?
Yeah.
So you hadn't been a Navy pilot yet.
No.
But now, later on, you were able to remember what you saw and know that it was these...
I knew what the altitude was. I somehow knew this altitude, okay?
Oh, really?
Yes. And later on, I did. I flew almost every plane that the Navy had.
So the craft that you said there was because there's a newspaper picture. I don't know if that's really the real thing.
The newspaper was not a good demonstration of what took place.
All right.
Now, what I'm trying to say in evaluating what happened in this sighting, you have to visualize dozens and dozens and dozens of different shaped vehicles. This great big one parked right above you, right over Long Beach, okay? Everybody is outside looking at this and watching it. There's vehicles going on both sides of it, there's vehicles above it, and several times, actually the vehicle went underneath and the anti-aircraft gun lights, the searchlights, shined on them and followed them. So this goes on till about 2:30. We get bored. We all go back to bed. Okay? We get bored.
Well,
no, hold on.
Happening.
Just wait a minute. Hold on. Okay? We get bored.
Yeah.
Now, while this is happening, and it goes on until 5 o'clock in the morning, many of the other people outside, okay, outside watching this from the street,
yeah,
stayed up all night long.
Yeah.
Okay, but...
Better than a movie.
Okay, no, wait a minute. Just listen what it... Now, on the other side of your planet, at this same time, the Germans were bombing London.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh. Holy cats, this is February 1942.
Right.
Okay?
Incredible.
Now, we got bored and went to sleep. Now, I want to make a very important point about this, the Los Angeles event, the sighting.
Okay.
Nobody got scared. Nobody got nervous. Nobody ran in the house and jumped with
Yeah.
the covers over their head, okay? Everybody watched this thing. Nobody got sick. Nobody got real sick, died. There weren't anything of that. The only people that were killed in this were from our own shrapnel. Now, people watched this same sighting, we found out later, from Santa Barbara. People watched it from San Diego.
Sure.
This is a massive group of vehicles. Now, listen to this analysis. You got to tell me. There's only two ways this could accomplish what was going on. One, the extraterrestrials vehicle come in over the ocean, okay? Hundreds of them. They go all over Los Angeles. They go to they go to the telescope on Mount Wilson. They make a turn. They either go north or they go south. They fly out to sea, they turn around out over the ocean, and they come back to make you think there's a whole lot more vehicles there than actually there is. They either had to do that, or we watched thousands of vehicles come in over western United States from 1:30 to almost 5 o'clock.
And they shot at them and weren't able to hit them or destroy them in any
The
way.
shells burst on the bottom of them. They're not bursting on the bottom. There's an electromagnetic shield, but the shell hits and it blows up, but it doesn't do any damage. Now, yes, we did shoot down two small ones, which were not occupied. One of those went in the ocean only a half a mile off the Rainbow Pier in Long Beach. Your Navy picked that up. So your Navy had an extraterrestrial vehicle in February of 1942. Two Navy admirals, two Army Air Corps generals, and an individual whose name is Donald Douglas Sr. Those five people were in meetings that evening. They were still in meetings. They watched this whole thing. They watched everything. And bang, extraterrestrials. No cover up. They're real, okay? So those fellows got together.
Okay.
Just a second. Douglas then put this group together, the two admirals, the two Army generals, Air Force generals,
Okay.
and they put together a group of people and initiated a secret think tank inside of Douglas, actually within 1 week of the sighting.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
And so, you know, we talk here that this is February 42. 1951, I went to work for that secret think tank inside of Douglas. I had been working for Northrop for 2.5 years. I worked for North American for a short time. I worked for Lockheed for a short time. And then somebody telepathically told me I need to leave Lockheed and I need to go to work over in Santa Monica at Douglas. I didn't read a document that said do that.
Wow. Now you understand why we spend so much time establishing Tompkins' credibility. Did you happen to hear the name of that alien species again? Nordics? I reviewed Selected by Extraterrestrials again and noted Tompkins' references to aliens. I created a cast of characters just in case someone wants to create a Broadway musical. Tee-hee. Tompkins' Nordic colleagues are in alphabetical order, starting with Brittany, his secretary at Rocketdyne; Christy Pearson, a worker in propulsion at Douglas Aircraft Company; Crystal, Jessica's sister, Dee, who I'll call Tompkins' monitor, because Dee was with Tompkins in kindergarten, on the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga eating ice cream, at a private school on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, in the Glee Club with Tompkins, with matching sweaters. Oh, how nice. In Long Beach. Dee was in the drafting class at Bancroft Junior High School and in Mr. Black's English class in Hollywood High School. Dee and Tompkins were in the darkroom at North Island Naval Air Station, apparently kissing for over an hour. And there was Jessica, Tompkins' secretary at Douglas Aircraft Company, and Tiffany, another worker at Rocketdyne. The point I'm trying to make is that Nordics look like humans. Until you clue in on the mental telepathy, or they tell you they're Nordic. It's tough to know the difference. For example, think of something. Now, is that your idea or their idea? It's tough to know the difference. In Tompkins' case, his mind was continually stuffed with ideas and concepts, telepathically, of course. Jessica's description is found on page 320. She is described as a little taller than most, in essence perfection, with a perfectly shaped smile, flawless flowing blonde hair, and stunning blue eyes so deep and rich. Can you tell that the author is a male? Another way to determine the sex of a species is to try the Tompkins method. He had sex with Dee on the Blue Island planet somewhere in the Andromeda galaxy. Apparently, quote, the whole planet is like a Las Vegas playground, end quote. Dee was given the spacecraft for a year, which Tompkins describes as, quote, a Lamborghini motor coach without wheels, end quote. Page 180 through 181. At one point, Jessica fell down the stairs, and her commander felt it necessary to check in on her telepathically. This mental conversation occurred on pages 212 through 214. Jessica forwarded this flash to Tompkins many months later. Let's see what insight we can learn on Nordics. Okay, girl, settle down. Back off. Come on now, just settle down. Remember who you are. First of all, it's 1960, their time. Whose time? Their time, you little their time. Oh, for God's sake, Samantha. You are Jessica. It's 1960. You are way out on the southwest arm of quadrant 27 of their galaxy. Whose galaxy? The one they call the Milky Way. Who the f*** are you? I'm your boss, lady. I thought Billy is my boss. I am your commander. What star? What planet? Now you are coming around. It's their star that they call the sun. Samantha, you are Jessica now, on Earth, their third planet out. Remember? Well, now I seem to. It's clearing up a little now. Good. You are Lieutenant Samantha Erickson of the Nordic Galactic Navy, Navspace 1239 Reagan. You have been assigned to a mission to pull those Earth people technically, specifically to educate some of them that Tompkins for one. Samantha, you are supposed to fill the other 99% of his unused brain with the capacity to conceive starships, like our Andromeda-class spacecraft carriers. Get them to build them. Then join our naval battle group forces. Help us with the reptilian problem. Samantha, no, I mean Jessica, you are William Tompkins' secretary in their Douglas Aircraft Company Space Division in Santa Monica, California, USA. You tripped and fell down those 2x8 wooden stairs in their converted hangar. Stop whining, Samantha. I mean Jessica. You're 2,000 of our years old. That's 18 of their years. One last reference to Nordics, and then a recap. On page 228, Jessica is sounding off as to why humans are going to have trouble with space travel. You guys don't live long enough. 60 or 70 years won't cut it. not because of the distance between stars, but because you grow up to 20 years and spend 4 or 6 years at Caltech, get your sheepskin and a job in aerospace, put in your 20 years, and they give you a shiny watch and dump you in a retirement for a couple of years, and you're gone. If you're a teenager for 5,000 years, you can contribute technically for 10,000 years and cruise this and other universes in one of those 4-kilometer galactic cruise ships for another 5,000. It's imperative you must get into biomedical and control your anti-aging cells. Wikipedia describes Nordics as humanoid extraterrestrials, purportedly from Pleiades. They resemble Nordic Scandinavians, 6 to 7 feet in height, otherwise known as 1.8 to 2.1 meters. They have long blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, and features that are described as Aryan, which include telepathy, benevolence, and physical beauty. Now let's contrast that with Tompkins' experiences. Jessica is taller than most, with long blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, telepathy, benevolence, and physical beauty. That's a match. Regarding agenda, Nordics want humans to get out into space and help fight the reptilians. All humans. Chinese, American, and even Russians, UFOs have no geographic boundaries. Well, that concludes this episode, but I will leave you with a thought. Bill got the attention of the Navy through his photographic memory and his model shipbuilding skills. Does that qualify him to design rockets or get ultra-high security clearances? How about supervising more than 100 engineers or redesigning NASA buildings? Are these skills learned on the job? Remember, Bill got recruited into the Navy right out of high school. He did not attend any military college nor academic universities. I look forward to reading your comments. Now, I will leave you with a final message from Bill Tompkins.
The public needs to know about this. The country needs to know about it. The planet needs to know about what has taken place.